All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Man Cave Mondays. And I am Dan. I am not in my usual Man Cave space tonight because I am, it's kind of a crazy weekend for me. It is actually my daughter Lily's fourth birthday today. So, I didn't really have a ton of time to get all set up in the usual man cave space. So instead, you guys all get to see the incredibly dull, boring sound studio that I created out of a closet in the man cave. So with that said, let's get right into our panel. And first and foremost, Bobby, welcome, sir.
Hey, everybody. How you doing today?
Welcome back to the show. How was your weekend?
It was good. I rocked out 50-mile bike ride today.
50-mile bike ride.
Yeah. First time in a long time, I got to do that much riding. So
I'm jealous and also not jealous all at the same time. I admire your ability to do that. I could never do that.
Oh, with the right type of training and the right bike, you can do it.
I couldn't just do it outright. I'll put it that way.
No, you could, yeah, but you could try.
I'd have to warm up to that. I'd have to get the motivation to warm up to that. I don't know if I have that. And moving on to our next panelist, of course, Christian. How are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic.
How was your weekend?
Not too bad.
Yeah?
Coincidentally enough, it is my dad's birthday today.
Did you trek 50 miles like Bobby did?
No.
No?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
I don't think I walked 50 miles this weekend.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah. But it is my dad's birthday today. He is not 4. He's a little older.
Okay.
Yeah, a little older.
Maybe older.
I think he's in his 400s now.
By a smidge. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, happy birthday to him.
Yes, happy birthday to Lily as well.
Yeah. And then, of course, Joe.
What's up, guys?
AKA Boomstick. How are you, sir? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I worked most of it.
Just working?
Yeah, I worked most of it.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was good.
All right. Very cool. And then last but not least, fashionably late. And
Transformer again.
Dude, your audio sounds terrible. I can't hear you. This is why you need to get here more than 2 minutes before the show so we can test this stuff, bro.
You got to get the rock band mic out again. Yeah, get the rock band.
We gotta kick you out. You gotta come back. Fashionably late, and that's what happens. You can't troubleshoot. He'll be back with the rock band mic.
We can only hope.
Exactly. But starting right off, I think we're going to dive right into the news because I have a feeling our conversation tonight is going to take up some time.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one. But let's dive into the news first. Bobby, do you want to go first?
Sure. So there's no image for this one today, but news came out that Aquaman is being canceled with Aquaman number 65 this November, in which we'll have a double-sized issue.
Book, right?
The comic book Aquaman is being canceled this November. And then in other news, so this June, I don't know if we talked about it, but AT&T completed its $85 billion acquisition of Time Warner, just 2 days after a federal judge greenlighted the deal. And then, according to the Hollywood Reporter this week, Time Warner Media began a massive round of layoffs, and roughly 1/3 of DC editorial ranks are being laid off, according to sources. The only person to survive the layoffs is the chief creative officer and one of my personal favorite comic book artists, Jim Lee.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody else there got
a third of them. Yep. DC Direct, the company's in-house merchandise and collectibles manufacturer. The division has been shut after 22 years. And another move that Warner Brothers Consumer Products has been taking an active role in DC merchandising.
Wow.
And then another victim, that leads into Dan's conversation about streaming news. Another victim of the Time Warner merger is
the fact that it is going to be coming over. Let me see if I can get my graphic here. Where is it? Oh, I lost did I lose the graphic? No. That's the Jim Lee, but here
That's
we are.
the one
Yes,
but
that's the
he
one.
confirms it. So
He's the one that confirmed it. All of the DC Universe stuff that's on the streaming app right now is going to be coming over to HBO Max.
Which totally makes sense.
Can I just say it's news, like it's big news,
but it shouldn't come as a surprise.
Everybody kind of figured was already going to happen. So it's kind of, I mean, honestly, it's kind of a no-brainer. It really is. So but it's a big deal. Like all this DC stuff going on, like there's a lot of crazy stuff happening, and then obviously the DC fandom thing's coming up super quick. And Christian, and you were bringing up earlier how off the air how there's some just really crazy shakeups going on with that already too.
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I couldn't find the article on it, but I was reading an article last night when I was laying in bed, and it was saying that there's been pretty much a major shakeup in the fact that Jeff Johns is not expected to make any appearance at DC Fandom. They said that their source couldn't confirm it for 100%, but he's not currently expected to. A couple months ago, he was supposed to do the Stargirl panel, and he got pulled from that. And then, as of most recently, he was expected to do the Three Jokers comic panel. And supposedly they're pulling that panel from there as well, or pulling him from it. It's all speculation or rumors right now. But I mean, Ray Fisher had some pretty strong things to say about him and Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
And especially in today's culture and today's day and age, those things are not taken lightly, nor should they be.
No.
That is something that should not
Joss
feel...
Whedon. Like, yeah. Like if you, I'm following a few of the people who are part of the Justice League, original Justice League release and part of the reshoots, including Ray Fisher, on both Twitter as well as on Vero. And it's funny how, like, once one person speaks up, there's a lot of credibility behind what that person is saying. There's a ton of stuff that comes oozing out of.
Yeah. Well, and the big thing about the Joss Whedon stuff, especially to me, that I saw that was kind of the decider that maybe kind of like, okay, yeah, this is definitely real, is you would think if that wasn't who he was, that some of the Marvel people or some of the Avengers actors or something like that would have come out and said something in his defense.
You'd think so.
But the fact that nobody has said anything, sometimes silence speaks a lot louder.
There was one comment right at the beginning when when Ray Fisher first made the statement that he wants to recant everything that he had said positive about him.
Right.
I can't remember who. It might have actually. Was it Jeff Johns? It might have been Jeff Johns. It could have been him or someone else.
That would make sense
in that realm. If
he was just as
if he's just as culpable with all this.
Yeah. Birds of a feather.
Yeah. Right. Are you guys going to be watching the DC fandom stuff at all, or no?
I plan to, at least part of it.
Joe, you're shaking your head. No. Too busy, or just not interested?
Not interested.
Really? Are you kidding me?
Did you know you can go online and set up like a whole schedule for you, and it'll like alert you when the things you care about actually pop up?
You're not even remotely curious about what they're going to be releasing as far as the DC video game world and stuff that Rocksteady is going to been.
They've got 2 unannounced movie panels there as well.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised to hear you say that you don't at least want to hear about the Superman / Suicide Squad game.
Suicide Squad kills the Justice League by Rocksteady.
Like,
now that's something I'll watch on YouTube, catch up on, but it's not something like full confession, Dan. I've tried to beat the Batman games that have come out since 360, and they're so boring. I fall asleep playing them.
The Arkham series? You're not a fan of the Batman Arkham series? What?
Yeah.
They're very linear, so I could get.
No, they're not. The first one is. Arkham Asylum is the only linear one in the entire series.
This is a revelation, sir. And I am so disappointed. You are bored by the Batman Arkham series games?
That hurts.
Alberto, hit him with it.
What?
Hit him with it, Alberto. Hit him with it. Come on.
Yeah, have a drink on that one, Joe. Jeez.
How many of those
Holy
drinks have you
cow.
had?
What is
not
it
enough
about them?
that you
Okay, so stop the
enough.
presses. We'll move on with the news in a sec. This is big news. Joe, what do you not like about the Batman Arkham games?
The story doesn't capture my attention. It just doesn't.
I disagree with you there, Al.
What
No, that's
about
fine. That's fine.
what would it take? What would it take for a game like that? Like those games, like none of them captured you, is what you're saying. There's been 4 of them now. Well,
The very
four
first
and a
one.
half.
Did you try to
First
play
one?
any of the other ones after Arkham Asylum?
All of them. I've played
Okay.
all of them. I went and bought Arkham. Is it Arkham Knight?
The most
Latest.
recent one? Yeah.
I went and bought Arkham Knight, the night release, and brought it home, put it in my PlayStation, and loaded it up. And I played it for like 3 days, and I was like, "Yeah, nope, this is for me."
You have a hard time getting into the Batman Arkham games, and yet the Witcher series
Yeah.
is
Preach.
super compelling for you. What?
It is.
What? You have a hard time getting into Batman Arkham's. Wow. Okay.
Maybe if Batman killed people, I'd be interested.
Ouch.
Technically,
I'm gonna just throw this
Instead
out
of
there.
naming them,
He technically
break some necks in
technically,
that game.
You know, if you're in the middle of winter
Yeah.
and you bust someone's kneecaps and all of their ligaments and just leave them on the ground in the middle of a city where there's no police presence at all, they're pretty much dead.
Or you hit him with the Batmobile
You
going
hit them
80
with the
miles an hour.
Batmobile and electrocute them at the same time. Yeah, you're pretty much dead.
Let me say it this way: the Batman games, I can see the aspect that draws people to them. I just find that there's more interesting games for my personality that I rather spend my time with.
You don't like the combat? Combat revolutionized third person.
It did.
combat.
It did. I'm playing Spider-Man 2, and it's same type of combat.
If anybody has enjoyed hand-to-hand combat and any superhero-related anything over the last 10 years, it's probably because they're copying the Arkham format.
Absolutely.
So,
I agree with you.
wow. I'm just so disappointed in you, Joe. You have no idea. I love that series so much.
So in the comments down below, find us a new 5th host.
Right. There we go.
Actually, I might have 2. Oh, wait. You're talking about getting rid of me. Hold on.
I might have 2 to take my place. Okay.
Hold on.
One of them being your wife. What does your wife think of the Arkham games? Has she played them?
She's watched me play them.
She's watched you play them.
Mhm.
She should definitely play them for herself and then
I'm
give
like-
us her review.
I'm like, sweetie, look at Catwoman. You can totally pull that off.
You've already tainted her opinion of the games by.
No, actually, she doesn't know my opinion. She's listening upstairs right now.
I'm sure
and
she
she's
is.
probably like, what?
That's
Taking off
hilarious.
her wedding ring.
Yeah.
We need a divorce.
We're gonna count it down. She's gonna appear in the background with a baseball bat. Just
Yeah. Right.
Harley Quinn.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, moving on to other news, non-DC related. There isn't a whole lot going on streaming wise other than DC stuff, but there was this interesting thing that came across my news feed this week. Stranger Things star. Again, going back to Stranger Things, I love this show. But Gatton, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I hear it and I still don't know how to say it. Matarazzo.
Looks fine.
We'll go with that. Dude is apparently rocking a summer job working as a food runner in New Jersey for a family member's business.
Hey,
While the entire show is essentially on production hiatus.
Gotta make money.
Yeah.
You do. You gotta make money. But here's the deal. He said, quote unquote, he's doing it as quote something to do.
yeah.
He's not doing it to make money. I don't know if they're even giving him a paycheck. He probably doesn't need it.
Yeah.
I would need something to do too if
Yeah.
my whole thing is making movies and then now there's nothing for me to do. I can't go back to work because nobody's making movies or TV shows. So
I think everyone's starting to make podcasts now. I heard.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody's making podcasts.
It's not that I don't really think it's that big of a thing.
I wouldn't know anybody in that category at all. I totally disagree. Yeah. So with that, we can move on to Joe and Christian. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
All righty, Joe.
So some good news. The very first piece of news I'm going to share with you is Xbox is doing their summer sale. And it came out of nowhere.
Yes.
Thursday. And
yes.
It has some great games on sale. And so if you have an Xbox,
yes,
this is time to grab some great games.
I perused it a little bit. It looks amazing. There's some really good ones.
Do you see any games that you would like to purchase?
I always do. Every summer sale. But yes, there's a lot on sale.
Yeah, this Xbox summer sale is like the equivalent to the Steam summer sale where people buy a bunch of $2 games. They're like, I can't wait to never try this and have it installed in my hard drive.
It's so true, bro. I did get so there was one that I got and I dropped like $2 on it. And I did play it. And let me see if I can find. I'm gonna just try and find the trailer for it. We can keep chatting and fill time while I'm looking.
I actually bought the Resident Evil 7.
Oh yeah,
it's like $10. And,
$10. That's not bad at all.
We're going to the Halloween season, and I'm like, a good scary game sounds good. Like sounds fun to play right now. And so it was either that or trying to survive Alien again, which is. Have any of you guys played Alien?
Mm-mm.
The Alien Isolation?
Yeah, Isolation.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That game is nightmarish.
So it has a system in the AI that you can turn on your mic on your headset, right?
Or your Kinect.
And if you make any noises, the AI will find you.
Yep.
So I had to stop playing the game around my wife because she screams.
I believe that. That's hilarious.
And yeah, they have some good games. I've been waiting for is it Contact to come on sale? Is it Contact?
Contact? Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I've been waiting to come on sale, and I don't believe it is. So
no, I noticed. I was perusing through because that one's another one that I feel like is one that I would really like. Yeah, but
it's set in the same realm of Alan Wake.
Is it in the same universe?
Same universe. They just came out with the Alan Wake DLC.
That.
Yep. Did you find your game?
That is really cool. I did. So here's the trailer for it. It was only $2, but this is the PS4 trailer. Let me see if I can find it here. I got to make sure the audio is there as well. There we go. Okay. So anybody who likes retro gaming, this is going to be a really interesting concept, and I've been really enjoying it so far. It is a game called Super Mash. It is available on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Switch. And it's got a really interesting concept here. You basically, I don't know how they do it, It's basically like you pick 2 different genres, and they're decent quality versions of each of those genres. Stick them together, hit blend, and just see what shoots out. And you can get something that's like incredibly dumb and boring, or something that's really, really fun and cool. Something that's super easy or extremely difficult. And there's all these different all these different adjustments that you can make to the mix. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I was thinking about doing a stream of it at some point, but it was only a few bucks. I was like, well, heck, this is worth taking a risk on it. Normally I want to say it was like $20, $15-$20. But once you find it, and you can create and customize your own games, I guess, too, which is kind of cool. So it's got like a Mario Maker-esque kind of component to it. I've been really impressed with it. So, yeah. So that's one of those super duper crazy cheap games, Alberto, that you were talking about, that you think I'm never going to play this. Well, I decided to actually give it a shot, and I've actually really been enjoying it.
You're like, lo and behold, it only took 187 purchases, but I finally
found the $2 game that I'm going to actually play for a little while, right? Yeah.
Get your money's worth at least.
Right. Steam's horrible at that, though, dude. The Steam sale comes out, and it's like,
I'm thankful I don't have a good enough computer to be downloading a ton of games like that. Otherwise,
you are blessed. You have no idea how many Humble Bundle sales there are.
Humble Bundle, dude, for real. And they get you. Humble Bundle is like, for only $1, you can get this game for the increase of the average of $8.12. You can get all of these additional games, and if you go above the average, you can get all of these games with a total of $15. But if you spend $20, you know, it's fun. Suddenly you're going from $1 to $20. It's like, and then they get you with and it's all for charity. So,
oh yeah, that's how they always get you.
Well, it's for charity, so.
Oh yeah, might as well just do 80 then.
Yeah, you can pick your charity even.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So
my next news is a big one. We talked about Apple not allowing xCloud to be streamed on a service. And so since then, last week, Apple and Google kicked Fortnite, Epic Games, off their platforms.
What?
Yep.
What?
Really?
And the reason why is because basically what Epic Games did is like the way Apple's set up is they get 30% of the profit of any other things sold in their store. Right? That's a lot. But Epic, so a battle pass is $10 through the Apple store. And so what Epic Game did is they figured out a way to allow players to buy it directly from Epic Game for $8. And they keep all the money, right? And once the big update came out and Apple discovered it, they kicked them out. And so, Dan, did you find that YouTube video?
I do have it. I do have it somewhere here. Hang on, let me find it.
Weren't they like linking people from the app to the Epic Games website to purchase it from there?
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. So you were buying it from their website and not through the app. It's sneaky, but it's smart.
However, regardless if it's sneaky or not, is 30%.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
A big chunk. Yeah, I found it, Joe. This one here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. It's spinning. Yeah, this one. So you guys watch this. It's only like 48 seconds.
Today, we celebrate the anniversary of the Platform Unification Directives. For years, they have given us their songs, their labor, their dreams. In exchange, we have taken our tribute, our profits, our control.
I love how
you know what this is a parody of, right?
We shall prevail.
That's awesome.
This was an old Apple commercial from the Olympic Games.
From 1984.
Yeah. So
1984. That's hilarious. I had not seen that yet, Joe.
And I haven't seen it either. I read about it,
that
but I haven't
out.
seen it.
I'm noticing IGN down here in the corner. Did they make that, or are they just?
No, IGN posted it.
They just posted it. Who
Epic
made
Games.
it?
Epic Games made it.
That's an
Epic Games made that?
That's an official Epic Games
That's
video.
An official like FU to Epic Game to Apple.
Yeah.
So in 1984,
That is hilarious. Go ahead and keep talking, Joe.
in 1984, Apple came out with a commercial that is very similar to this.
Yeah.
And basically, Apple came out and like, "Hey, we're the underdog." That's been like the MO for the longest time. We're the underdog.
Yeah.
And
They were.
so basically, they made a parody about their own 1984
wow.
paradigm, you know. And they reference the book 1984. Have any of you guys read that?
Long time ago. That's interesting. So what's I kind of want to, let me do a quick search here. I kind of want to see what the original commercial looked like.
Yeah, like
So-
I was reading that like this issue with Epic Games is similar to the issue that Xbox the cloud servant stuff is happening, because it's the whole like Apple wants to be in charge of all the reviewing process,
Everything.
every
Yeah.
single thing. It's like you're
And
coming
every
in our
minute
house,
detail. Yeah.
we gotta see everything.
And the gaming world is like not gonna have that at all.
Well,
So-
Apple says we need to be part of the review process, and not every game is going to be part of our review. When really it comes down to they're not going to get a share of the money.
Right, exactly.
So two
Because
things.
they need it.
Again, that's me. They
Yeah.
have no one has come out and said that either
Yeah.
publicly or non-publicly, but
we
I
all
think it's
know.
kind of inferred to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
like that's the Apple's saying, oh no, they're not following our strict policies.
Yeah, it's implied.
Okay, here we are. Here's the. All right, so there's the. Yeah, let me bring this up. Let's see if I can bring this up. Okay, so here's the original one.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information purification directives. We have created for the first time in all history a garden
Very dystopian future.
Oh yeah,
where each worker
very like the giver, the whole deal.
of a contributory
Oh wow.
This is like almost identical.
I was gonna say this is like beat for beat exactly what they did a really good job. Wow. Yeah. I'm curious what the text is going to be.
Why is the woman wearing a Hooters outfit?
That's a good
Well, again, it was
question.
the Olympics.
Yeah, it
On
was an
January
Olympic
24th,
outfit.
Apple Computers will introduce
And
Macintosh.
you'll see
and you will
why
see.
1984 won't be like 1984.
Interesting.
They became the thing
Interesting.
they swore.
So yeah, so that was about Apple breaking up the monopoly that had already existed outside of them, and now
Yeah.
they've become the monopoly.
And now they're on the shoes on the other foot. Wow. Wow.
Two things. They filed a suit in the UK. They're not asking for money or anything. What they're asking is that they are allowed to have their game back on the platform with Google and Apple, and not have 30% taken from them.
Yeah.
But to be fair, also Epic Games made over $4 billion last year.
I mean,
That's a lot of money.
and wasn't
There's
that
a lot of
just
money.
on mobile devices?
I'm not 100% sure.
I know that like I saw something crazy. I think it was like 70 or 80% of their profits from Fortnite was
Oh, yeah.
on mobile
it's
devices,
definitely the biggest chunk.
which is
But
crazy.
all of that combined with the legal action that's being taken against them potentially in the UK, because the European Union's like not having any shenanigans of their business practices either. And that came out like this is not good for Apple at all.
Yeah.
They're picking fights that are not going to be very easily winnable, especially when that many big dogs are like, nope, you need to be able to play with us.
Yeah.
In 2019, Epic Games reported 4.2 revenue and 730 million in earnings before taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Wow.
Revenue for 2020 is forecasted to be $5 billion, with $1 billion in before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
That's
Wow.
absurd.
And that's according to VentureBeat.com.
That's
They're making a lot of money, but it takes a company that big to fight
It
a
does.
company like Apple.
Yeah, it does. And
It
especially now that you've got
definitely does.
Microsoft standing up to them as well.
Well, Microsoft is too.
Yeah. So you've got
Microsoft
these
is
two-
and Facebook too.
Yeah.
Like
So you've got all
been,
these
like,
different
trying
companies
to
that are trying to like team up against them, basically break them down.
Yeah. That's what it takes, to be honest.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of shenanigans that Apple's been doing for business practices for way too long, and way too many little fish have been just getting kind of trampled on and dealing with all of it because there's nothing they can do about it. Do you guys think is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing, Bobby? I'm curious specifically what you think, because you're a huge Apple guy. So
I do love my Apple products. Part of me is it's Apple's playground. You want to play by our rules, you have to follow our rules.
Yeah.
You want your game to be broadcasted on all of our devices, then you need to pay us. So I totally get Apple's position. As the gamer, it sucks, but that's kind of where I see it at right now.
Yeah.
So.
Alberto, or no, Joe, you had something you were going to try and say. Yeah.
It doesn't affect the gamer.
You don't think it affects the gamers that have Apple devices and not Android devices? And
What I mean by I'm speaking about what Bobby's saying is that, like, if they came on, they do deserve to get paid something for using their platform. 30%, I don't know, but
that's a bit much. Yeah.
But the gamer, up until today, I had no idea it was 30%.
Yeah.
It's free to the game. I mean,
it's free to the gamer. What changes is that because these two companies are having a tiff, the gamer loses. Maybe I misunderstood what you're trying to say, Bobby.
No, they definitely do lose because people can't agree on profit sharing. Apple wants its money because it's their platform, it's their devices, it's their hardware, and they want to continue making money. Right now, they're going to have continued production slowdowns because of COVID-19. They're not people in factories isn't going to happen as much. You're having trade wars with America, which is slowing down the supply chain. There's recent news that Apple is now moving towards more their software side of things because now they're going to start bundling their subscription services. I've subscribed to Apple Music, so I'm paying $10 a month on that. I'm paying $20 a month for online backup through Apple. I'm now paying an additional $5 for their Apple Arcade, which I may or may not cancel. And then I'm also through Apple. I'm also paying for Disney Plus and some fitness app that I use sometimes. So you have all that stuff going through Apple to use Apple for the privilege to use Apple products, for the privilege for your app to be brought to our consumers. You need to give us money to have that privilege.
Yeah, I wonder though, like, so here's where I think the gaming world in particular, and this is why I love the title of the article that you picked, Joe, is absolutely perfect. They stumbled into a war with the gaming industry, and the future of the iOS is at stake. I think that sums it up very nicely.
Yeah.
Like the gaming industry,
they have no foothold in the gaming industry.
Right. And when push
they're
comes to
trying
shove, here's the thing that I love about
They're
the
trying
gaming
to.
world.
They're
Yeah.
trying
No
to.
matter if you love PlayStation or you love PC or you love Nintendo or you love Xbox or whatever your platform is, there are some things that everybody ends up rallying around and getting on the same page about if it's something that they can see will have a negative impact on everybody in the industry.
Yeah.
You look at EA as a huge, like they were the big bad guy for how long now with all the loot crates and all that stuff. Like everybody hated EA.
Yeah.
Were they still making bank? Yes. Were people still buying their stuff? Yes. But they were the villains of the industry for a long time. And regardless of whether or not you were an Xbox person or a PlayStation person or a Nintendo person, every one of us all agreed EA was just led by
scumbags,
right? Like
they still are.
And they still are, right? They still are. But they're at least realizing, hey, there's something unique about the fan base and about the developers and about the creators and the consumers of this medium that's maybe a little bit different than all of these other mediums, like especially with the power of social media and all of that. Like you don't mess with the gamers. You really don't. And if you're going to start doing business practices that we recognize are going to be hosing everybody in the long run, or at least creating a trend that we know could end up hosing everybody, we're not going to be cool with it. So, Alberto, what do you think? You've been silent for a while. I'm curious. What are your thoughts on this whole iOS Apple conflict?
Oh, I just didn't want to interrupt. That's why.
No, you're good, dude. I figured you had some thoughts, and I'm just curious. I want to hear the smooth, sultry voice through that wonderful Rock Band mic again. So,
I think if this kind of issue happened 5 years ago, it would this news would probably be buried. But considering in recent years, since the gaming industry, specifically the fans of gaming, have been a lot more outspoken about shady practices or practices that they don't appreciate from businesses. The first one that jumps to mind is a couple years ago when Battlefront 2 came out, and that almost basically single-handedly ended the entire loot box thing, and it really changed the landscape for loot boxes.
It almost ended EA.
Yeah,
really.
So something like this, I think, is when the xCloud thing happened, I think it was kind of the starting point, and within a week, this whole thing ended up happening too. I think what ended up happening was that a lot of people are finally being outspoken, especially since the xCloud is more maybe for fans that are wanting to dip their toes into Xbox or have been fans of Xbox, but with Fortnite, they have 1 billion devices with millions of fans on that device that are able to link their Epic Games account, play on their PC, play on their home consoles, and just kind of switch
all
between
carrying the same profile.
Exactly. So it's I've
huge
seen
for the whole industry for sure.
I've seen people sit next to me and just play a game, and then an hour or 2 hours later, when we're hanging out their house, they're playing on their Xbox, and they love it. They love being able to check everything.
The same game they're picking up, and
yeah.
And that right there, that's a great point, Alberto. I feel like that right there is a big part of how the industry is moving, and people are loving that feature, and it's slowly going to get to the point where consoles are less and less of a huge issue, and Apple coming in like this and basically giving a middle finger to the whole concept of, well, no, if you want to play with us, then you have to, meet these ridiculous standards. And Epic's finally going, you know what? Screw it. No, we're not going to do that. And I think gamers are smart enough to realize, hopefully a lot of them are, to realize who the real bad guy is. So do we know what happens to people who have the game already on their Apple devices? Do they still get to access it or no?
What happens is you get the game, you just can no longer update the game and no longer make any purchases for the game.
Is that what it is, Joe?
So they wouldn't be able to purchase battle passes, skins, anything like that, and they wouldn't be able to get any more updates.
So as soon as to some degree, that's a really big deal for Epic to make that decision that they're officially just not going to play with Apple because I'm sure Apple is still a big chunk of their player base. And to say that we're not going to do that, that's basically saying, but I'm trying to think out loud here. Like, that's a big part of their player base that could be on Apple devices. But the fact that their profile is able to carry over to everything else, that's a game changer, and that gives them a stronger position to be able to make that choice that they didn't have before. Because before, if everybody's profile was specific to a specific console or platform, that'd be a big deal to be like, well, we're not going to be on Apple devices. And that could be millions of users that are just completely gone after the update comes out, and they can't, it's like it stops them from being able to provide an update to millions of users. But the fact that their profile is able to be still carried over and played on multiple other platforms gives them a really, really strong position to be able to do this. Yeah. So
it's messy.
It's very messy, but it's really like that cross-platform stuff is a game changer for game developers. It really is. Very cool. Is there any other Xbox or PC news, Joe, that you had?
No.
Nope. That was it. Okay.
That's it.
Awesome. Moving on. Who wants to go next? Christian?
Yes. All right, so I'll make mine super quick. Just got two little blurbs to talk about. I want to be able to jump into the main topic here pretty shortly. So
yes.
First things first, there has been a pretty big accusation tossed around this week by a developer. Let me see if it specifies who said this. So Dust Golem, a notorious rumor monger who's been sharing Capcom intel for a few months, reported that developers were struggling to get their games running at true 4K on the PS5.
Really?
Saying that you'll be seeing a lot of fake 4K. He says that
some fake 4K.
So fake, so basically just upscaling. So they're only running
not
at
natively
whatever,
running at that resolution. Gotcha.
Now, obviously, this is hearsay. This is not coming from like an official source in the slightest sense. But this has picked up some steam, and it's kind of picked on a life of its own, and it's caused a lot of, no offense, Stan, Xbox fanboys to start.
We can be kind of trolly.
Yeah, to start just blowing this up everywhere, saying, "Oh, look, Xbox is going to have natural 4K. Xbox is going to have this. Xbox is going to have this."
South Park, that's just how Xbox people are.
Right. Which, I mean, to be fair, if PlayStation comes out and tries to sell the PS5 as running at natural 4K and it doesn't, that's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
But if they don't mention it and it doesn't, why should we care?
False advertising if they never advertise.
Right. So. And I don't personally, I don't have a 4K TV. I don't know anybody who has a 4K TV.
You do now.
I know two people that have 4K TVs. But so personally, 4K doesn't matter to me.
You say that.
I was waiting for it.
I have a 4K TV with HDR. It's a night and day difference.
I honestly don't see any reason why that would make. I enjoy the graphics of the games I play now. I think they look fantastic. I enjoy the speeds. People who are like, 30 frames a second versus 60 I don't see why that makes a difference.
Oh, it makes a difference.
And that might be. I've just never personally probably played something at that high of a speed for me to be able to tell a difference.
Christian, come over to my house.
Difference. It does.
Come over to my house. I'll pour you some whiskey. I'll show you the 4K.
For the record, you don't have to have the whiskey in order to understand.
You have to wear masks, by the way.
Yes, 6 feet apart with the masks. Yes.
No, the whiskey will
block everything.
Will kill everything.
Sanitize the. Yeah, right. That's exactly right.
It'll sanitize your lungs.
So inject it through. Yeah, exactly.
And so
just put it into my veins.
He throws a little disclaimer out there saying he's just passing stuff around that he's heard from multiple people working on games on both platforms.
Okay.
So why are you even saying it then? If you don't have a real source, you don't have an official
because he wants to stir the pot.
Right, exactly.
Sounds like what Donald Trump does.
Right. He's
Yeah.
just trying to stir the pot and get all the console war back into,
Yeah. So I thought it was worthy of mentioning, at least because it's a news story that's passing the rounds.
I'm sure that's probably true for some developers
Yeah.
that
And you know
are
what?
making extremely ambitious games.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that's probably the case at the moment.
Yeah.
And who knows if those are games that are supposed to be out at launch? Probably not if they're still in development. So
yeah.
That's how early console, like a new console early in its lifespan.
Right. I mean, before the Xbox
when the
360
came out, there was nothing running at 1080p
No.
at all. By the end of its lifespan, everything was running at 1080p.
Well, and especially my PS4 literally sounds like a jet engine anytime I try to play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like sometimes
It's
sometimes the consoles just don't need to work that hard.
Yeah.
Here's my problem.
I was gonna.
I'm sorry. You know what? You haven't said much. You go first.
Oh.
That's very kind of you. Yes, Alberto. Say something in your fun little rock band mic.
So what I was gonna say is that if this ends up being true, let's just say that it can't really run native 4K. I feel like that's also something that shouldn't be a surprise, considering that even in this current generation, you can buy the PS4 Pro, Xbox Series X, and PS4 Pro still only does checkerboard 4K. And like an example is on Horizon Zero Dawn, you can either favor performance or favor graphics. You can have something in 4K with a lower frame rate, or you can have something in 1080p with a higher frame rate. So PlayStation has always kind of been a little bit behind with that stuff. I'm not saying that, I'm trying to like defend one or the other, but I'm trying to say is if it ends up being true, I wouldn't be surprised, because at the same time, I have the Pro at home, and I'm in the same boat with Christian. I boot up a game, and it sounds like I'm like on the Air Force base, and it's just ridiculous, like absolutely nonstop. So, would not be surprised.
Well, first of all, I want to say my Xbox One X is quiet.
Yes,
it's quiet.
I agree. The Series X,
mine is too.
Quiet as a mouse.
No matter what I'm playing on it, Red Dead Redemption, whatever, it's quiet as a mouse.
I would like to throw out there, Call of Duty is the only game I ever hear a peep from it on, and Call of Duty is also a game that takes up almost like a terabyte of space. So I think that might be the problem.
Beefy game, that's true.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is from the 360 to Xbox One, how we went from 1080p on the 360 to 900p on the Xbox One, on the OG Xbox One. Can you guys explain that to me at all?
I don't know enough about it.
The original one?
The original Xbox One can only run 900p.
Yeah.
Can only run 900p.
Yes.
That's not right.
It is right.
Yeah, it is the worst performing of like current generation stuff that came out.
Batman
Arkham Knight runs at 900p, not 1080p.
No, a large majority of games have that problem on the first generation Xbox One.
I'm gonna look that up.
Well, while you're looking that up,
I'll
hit my second news story so we can save some time here.
Go for it.
Amazon UK has listed, amongst a couple other things, if not super great newsworthy, they have listed Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword for the Switch. So that's pretty much one of the last, if not the last, older Legend of Zelda games to not get a reboot or a remaster or anything like that in the last few years. And that's one that a lot of people have mixed feelings on. I know some people that's their favorite Zelda game. I know some people that it's their least favorite Zelda game. But Amazon listed it for about a day and then took it down suddenly. And now now where the link used to be, it just is an unregistered upcoming Nintendo Switch game. So, I mean, I feel like anytime you get a retailer that posts that, you're getting pretty likely that that's going to be coming out at some point. Yeah. Granted, it's the release date that it showed was December 31st, 2030. So obviously that's a placeholder. But it would not surprise me if within the next 6 months we hear a release for that.
Alrighty.
That's all for me.
Joe, I'm not seeing anything here about it only running 900. The closest that I'm seeing is that original Xbox games run at 920p, which is 9 times their original resolution. Yeah. I'm not seeing anything about the system maxing out at only 900p, but I am, if you can find a fun little source, I would be very interested to read that. So I can't hear you. I can't.
I think you might be muted. Nope. Still muted.
How about now?
Hey, there we go. Now
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
I got you. I'm sending it to you.
Please do. I'm actually really curious to learn more about that. Alrighty. And last but not least, Alberto, did I get any links from you, sir?
Yeah, fashionably late as always, but yeah.
Fashionably late, but we got them here. All right.
Yeah, so I will run through them no more than a minute each. I only got 2 things.
All right. It's all good.
Just because I know that we're running a little bit longer. But first thing is, I can't remember who, but one of you guys shared it in the chat earlier, and then I looked a little bit more into it. Tron, there's going to be a sequel. So a third one in the series, which is really exciting. But at the same time, there was a separate article. I should have also been linking that one, but it was from Screen Rant. They also mentioned that despite it being a sequel, it's looking like it's going to be a standalone sequel. So not so much in the same realm of a continuation of Legacy's story, because Legacy was continuing the original story.
Right.
And now with Jared Leto having to be the star, it seems like it's going to be going just in his own little standalone thing. The original Tron 3 was supposed to be another continuation from Legacy.
Right.
Kind of like going off of what that cartoon show Koliyoko was, where AI comes into the real world. So there's a real world AI hybrid. No one really knows what direction they're going to be going in now. No one really knows exactly.
That's interesting.
But it is going to be, regardless, I'm going to end up watching it. I think it's one of the most...
Well, I definitely want to see it for sure.
I remember watching them, even if they were not the most exciting story-wise movies to watch. Visually, they were always kind of one of the more interesting ones from the Disney catalog.
Do you ever watch Tron Legacy when it in theaters or even at somewhere in 3D?
I saw it at home, but I wish I saw it at 3D.
Dude, watching Tron Legacy in 3D, really cool experience.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Tron Legacy one of the first movies to really take advantage of the de-aging technology?
It was. It didn't do a very good job of it.
No, but it was one of the first movies to ever do it.
It was a pretty prominent part of it for sure.
Yeah,
Jeff Bridges' younger version or whatever.
Yeah.
But one of the cool things about that was they used 3D to really be a part of the storytelling mechanic. I went into the theater originally, and there's even a graphic at the very beginning of the movie that says some parts of this movie are not in 3D. That is on purpose. So don't feel like you're not watching 3D and getting ripped off.
I think I saw it in 3D. I think everything outside of
everything that was real world
wasn't 3D.
Was not in 3D. It was all shot in 2D, and that was intentional. And then as soon as he got sucked into the digital world, the 3D stuff just started hitting. It was a really cool effect. I loved how they did it from just a story immersive perspective. It was really cool. Mm-hmm. I'm curious what they're going to do with this story though, because if it doesn't have any of the characters from the other one, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not as excited.
Yeah.
So.
And then the second bit of news is, don't know if you guys have ever watched the movie Game Night. If you haven't, it's a really good, fresh take on comedy and that really generic slasher house party murder mystery type of deal. Like
Okay.
it's awesome. Like
It's
Rachel
great.
McAdams, Jason Bateman, they both star in it, and it's charming, it's witty, it's really unique. And anyway, the writer from the movie is going to be teaming up again with Jason Bateman to be making this movie called Superworld. It's not the most original concept. We've seen it in some sort of forms, like in the show The Boys, and even the movie The Incredibles, where it's set in distant future, not so far future, 2038, where everyone on Earth has superpowers except one man, and now this one man is going to go in a kind of like in a journey, it's corporate level journey, to try to do something about all that. So we've seen it in different mediums. We've seen it in the comic books and in TV shows and movies. So I'm excited to see, because I love Jason Bateman. I don't know if you guys have ever watched his serious stuff from Ozark to his hilarious stuff from Horrible Bosses, but everything he's been in, honestly, I just been a huge fan of. So for him and the writer from Game Night to be tackling something like this, I think it's gonna be like a fresh take on the big movie screen about the whole superhero world, about superhero constantly.
So he's starring in it.
Yeah.
And he's like writing or part of the writing of it as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because as soon as I hear him and superhero, I instantly think Hancock.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's true.
That's what immediately comes to my mind. Is that, and that was comedy to some. I mean, I would say that was like action comedy too.
Yeah.
So he's playing a character that is the only person in the world that doesn't have superpowers.
Yeah, at least from my understanding, I don't know if he's going to be like starring in like the title role, but so far all I really know is that it's going to be based off of the book Superworld, and I don't know. I'm excited to see it, because if you guys are a fan of The Boys, it really does feel like that. It really feels like they're taking that and just putting that onto like the big screen.
I do love The Boys, and season 3 is apparently a for sure thing already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
even though season 2 hasn't been released yet.
September 4th.
Yeah.
We're counting it down.
So excited for that.
But that's
cool.
it. That's all I got. So
that's awesome, dude. That's actually kind of exciting. I'm looking forward to that. So do we know what the release of that is going to be at all, or no?
No, so far it's just really early into development.
Okay.
I would imagine probably like 2022 or something at that point.
Yeah, probably. Alrighty. So that's our news. That's half of our show. Although we did maybe spend an extra, 10 or 15 minutes talking about why in the world Joe doesn't like Batman Arkham games.
It was
We're
needed.
also bashing on Apple.
Yeah.
Worth it. So moving on to our conversation for the evening, though. Conspiracy theories and fan theories of some of our favorite movie, video game, and television franchises. And really, let's just go. Okay, so I think the structure for this would be good if we were to pick like maybe one or two each, and depending on how much time we spend on this, but share maybe your top one.
And then when we have more time, we can fast track. We can like speed round through the other ones.
But I'd like to go around the group and
definitely.
just try and get a little sense of who believes it, who doesn't.
Yeah.
Kind of the thing, So, who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
You want to go first?
Joe, if you want to, whatever you want to do. If you want to go first, you can.
No, you go first, Christian.
All right. So this is something that I was going to talk about during our Star Wars episode, but we got so into all the other stuff that we didn't really have enough time. And so I knew this episode was coming, so I saved it for this. I tried to get some materials together. I couldn't find it, the articles I was looking for, so we're just going to go off memory. So the theory itself states that Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams at the last minute changed the ending to Rise of Skywalker, killing Kylo Ren to make Rey be the hero. because if Kylo Ren lives, he saves her life, and he lives, that makes him the hero. And they were concerned that if he lives, that's technically a Skywalker left alive, and then she doesn't get her spotlight. So the evidence to back this up is
I believe it.
Yeah, is a couple pieces. First piece of evidence, and I went back and rewatched the clip just this morning. So we've all seen Rise of Skywalker, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So the end. So right towards the end of Rise of Skywalker, last few minutes, when he comes out and saves her and does the return force healing to her, is the music then plays over it. And other than her saying his name and then them kissing, there's no audio heard from them or from anything in the movie. It's all just the score playing over it. And there are two separate shots, one from behind him and one from behind her, where you can see their jaws moving. They clearly filmed dialogue in that scene and cut it out. And then the scene right before he falls over, you see her talking to him and he smiles. And then all of a sudden he just passes out. It was very like weird timing, no sense that he was ill. Like, and my thought process behind it was always, if you wanted us to see that he was on death's door, have the wounds he suffered that healed when Rey force healed him come back. Because, when she force heals him, the scar goes away on his face, the scab wound goes away, all that goes away. So if he was returning the force healing, you would think that sort of stuff would come back if he was all of a sudden on death's door. So you can see they're talking, and then all of a sudden he goes down and it cuts, right? Next thing we see is them all on the Resistance base, and Rey's just happy. Looks like not a care in the world, like not this guy she just kissed died. And there's the scene cuts from where she's standing to Poe and Finn, and they turn and look at her with a look of surprise on their faces.
Christian, I'll tell you why I believe your theory.
Hit me with it.
They shot The Rise of Skywalker in modules.
Yep.
And with each module, with each test audience, they removed, took away, or reshot stuff to make, quote unquote, the perfect movie that they thought they were going to make.
Yep.
So there's also, I was reading a rumor that this beginning of the movie featured Anakin and Luke remaking the lightsaber and giving it to Rey and training Rey on the jungle world. Right. So you have all this type of stuff going into it. So that's why I think it's an awesome theory.
And there was a picture from the end of filming, everybody on the Resistance base, and Adam Driver is there in the exact same outfit he's wearing in his death scene.
So you think there's like footage and a version out there where he lives?
Yes, because you look at Poe and Finn's faces. Why would they look surprised to see just her there?
Yeah,
unless he's standing there with her.
Yeah, maybe.
And the very end of that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where she's standing there looking at the two suns or two moons or whatever.
Right.
Somebody looked at it. It's the exact same footage from her facing down the TIE fighter early in the movie. It's the exact same footage. They just spliced it into the end of the movie.
Bobby. Wait, we can't see it. Show it again. You gotta let it go, dude. Coming from a Snyder cut.
That's what people said to you, Dan.
I know.
There's no way George Lucas had nothing to do with it.
Oh no, I think it's just funny, but
it's just all of the extremely upset Star Wars people wishing that they could have the same success that all the DC fans have.
You're just not part of the Doomcock army.
I I just feel incredibly dirty and inappropriate saying Doomcock in the first place.
Yeah.
That's
And
a hell of a name, though, right?
I know that should have been your nickname, Joe.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Doomcock. There you go. There's your new gamer tag, Joe. We've been looking for one. There it is.
Yeah, that's
Doomcock Soldier. There you go. Do we believe this or do we not believe this? Bobby, you said you believe it.
I totally believe there's some version of that working out.
I believe it.
I believe it too, because the Rise of the Skywalker, it just felt way too hodgepodge of a movie. I felt like it was a lot of different ideas into one, and I'm just and I mean, like, if Christian's saying all this and it's all these details that I didn't even notice, but it doesn't make sense. I'm like,
I have to watch it again. For
Yeah,
sure.
watch it again and pay attention to
watch it again. You know how long that movie is?
Go and watch the last 10 minutes of it. Just watch the last 10 minutes of it.
Back when I was a day, we couldn't fast forward to streaming movies. No, we had to use our VHS tapes and fast forward to the exact part. And if we wanted to go back to the movie, we had to wait 5 minutes to watch the whole movie again, you young whippersnapper. You can go to any part of the movie. You can go to that part of the movie right now.
Exactly.
Dan, what do you think? Believe it or not?
Sideshow Bobby laying it out straight. That is exactly right. What do I believe it?
Yes.
I believe parts of it. I think it's very, I mean, Bobby brings out a good point that it was shot in modules, which means that it was probably like I would imagine that the editing floor and the producing side of it probably had, to some degree, their own flavor of a choose your own Star Wars adventure concept, and different acts or different chunks of the movie were available to splice together certain ways so that the most positively reviewed or test screen version would get to the theaters, which
isn't that sad?
Sucking.
Isn't that sad that the version we got was the most positive test screen version?
And it still sucked. Well, and here's the deal: Colin Trevorrow had apparently an amazing script that he was never.
Well, you know why he wasn't allowed to use it? We can thank Rian Johnson for that.
No.
Yeah, no.
If Rian Johnson hadn't eradicated everything,
I'm
just trying to rile Dan up.
Trolling me, dude.
I'm just trying to rile Dan up.
It'll be an 8-hour-long podcast.
Next
let's just keep going. Keep going.
Moving on. Other theory. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, Joe. What do you got, dude?
The other theory is Neo never left the Matrix.
What?
And
wait, what?
Hear me out. The fan theory about this is that after the first movie, he unlocks the ability to stop bullets. We all remember that. And the second movie, at the end of it, he was able to affect the Sentinels. He was able to have Neo powers in the real world.
That's right. His mind was all like, I can feel them. Yeah.
Yeah. And the theory is he was never unplugged.
Oh, wow.
It's just part of the simulation.
If this is true, where would Matrix 4 go then?
I'm sorry, what?
I said, like, if this fan theory is true, like, do you think this fan theory has been circulating before the production of Matrix 4 or during the time of Matrix 4? Because I mean, I feel like this fan theory will have an answer as soon as those movies come out, for sure.
Where does that put his sacrifice? What is that?
This theory I read is from Reddit from like 2015. So
okay. So it was before the official announcement of the new movie coming out, but it was long after the whole trilogy came.
So which would give credence to the new movie if he was never really unplugged.
I believe it. I believe it.
Bobby, what do you think?
It's fun. It's a fun theory.
It's a fun theory.
It's fun. The whole third Matrix movie was disappointing. I love the first Matrix. I thought it was groundbreaking. The second one, I'm like, okay, you're building it, and then the third one just kind of like
right down the crapper.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I enjoyed it still, but it's something about the third Matrix movie. But it's fun. Why not? Sure.
Alberto, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm having kind of a hard time because I don't know. I'm kind of having a hard time because, like what Dan was saying, like what does this mean for the whole sacrifice? And I'm kind of lost at words because, believe it or not, what was it? The last one was Revelations.
Revolution.
Revolution was actually the first Matrix I watched, and I watched it as a kid, and then I watched two, and then I watched one.
Started with the last one.
I was listen. I was on a road trip to Canada with my cousin. It was the only
old were
DVD
you?
he had.
Curious.
Single digit age probably. I don't know.
Okay.
So I remember watching it and I was like, oh, that was cool. Then I saw the second one. I was like, what? And then I saw the first one. I was like, okay, this one's really good. Wait, what the heck did I see? I thought that was the order of the movies, and then I found out the other way around. So not only is my idea of the timeline messed up because I watched everything wrong, but I still find it kind of hard to believe that he never woke up. For him to never wake up seems so sad, and then I just feel like the entire last bit of the sacrifices just nulls it almost a little bit.
Right. So where does that put everybody else that's in the Matrix? Because if he never leaves the Matrix, then that means everybody he's talking to in the movie
It's a simulation.
in every single one of the films is either A, a simulation, or B, they're all stuck in the Matrix too.
Yeah, because then what happens to Trinity? Like that's my immediate question. My immediate question is like, is she awake then somewhere else? Or is she dead, I guess, now in the real world?
Is she officially dead? Like, are they all simulations and AI, and it's all just really there to keep him as the one stuck in this weird world?
Purgatory.
Yeah.
Right. Like, is that kind of like I'm curious about the ramifications of this, because essentially it sounds like people are basically trying to make it into the same plot twist of Total Recall. Like, this whole world exists for you in your head, and you're the hero and you're the one, and everybody else is really not in a real thing. This is all just a simulation for you, but you don't know it. And did you leave or did you not leave? And it kind of that sounds like a Total Recall, you know.
You know what it reminded me of? My wife never seen Inception until like 2 nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of Inception because at some point, Hobbs loses connection of not knowing what was the real world or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a matrix within a matrix.
Watch the movie and keep an eye on whether he's wearing a ring or not, because there's strong evidence. There's another fun fan theory / conspiracy, that movie, that when he's wearing the ring, he's in a dream. When he's not wearing it, he's not in a dream, because his totem is actually the ring. It's not the top.
Yeah.
Really?
That was his wife's totem.
That was his wife's totem. It wasn't his. So when he's in a dream world, he's still emotionally connected and tied to being married to his wife, and she keeps popping up. So he's wearing a ring. But when he's in the real world, she's dead. She's not there. He's not wearing a ring.
So at the very end of the movie, was he wearing a ring?
Nope.
So he was not.
That was reality, according to that theory, at least.
I know my wife is
the theory anyway.
I know my wife is listening, and she cried like a baby at the end.
That's a good. You know what?
Did she think it was real, or like was he stuck in this dream world or not? Like, why was she?
No, it's just the whole fact of like losing your spouse and going into your dream and to spend time with your spouse, and ultimately try and get your way back to your kids. I think it just hit on a level for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one of those movies that I would definitely like to go back and experience for the first time again.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely, dude.
The entire time I was like this with my wife.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just like waiting for their reaction almost more than yours.
And ironically, it is actually going to be coming to theaters again. They got pushed back, but July was its July 31st was its 10th anniversary, and they had an anniversary screening scheduled for it but then COVID pushed everything back. But they are still planning on doing it.
For 10 years.
10 years ago is when that movie came out.
So we watched the season 2 of Umbrella Academy.
I haven't seen it yet, so don't spoil anything.
It's amazing. It's better than the first season. And 2 is like who's the girl that plays in Vanya? Who's Vanya?
Ellen Page.
Ellen Page.
Man, she's seriously aged in the last 10 years compared to
what she was in Inception. Yeah.
It was nuts. It was like watching two different people.
Yeah.
Interesting. So do we believe this theory or do we not believe this? What do we think? The Matrix one. Bobby, what do you think?
Are we still on the Matrix? I thought we already figured out the Matrix. Are we on Inception?
We kind of jumped ship just because it was kind of tied into it.
Well, I said the Matrix. I'm going to say no.
Ruling of the first theory that Joe gave, though, was the Matrix, and we haven't really ruled on that yet.
You know what?
I said no. I'm going to say no.
My first reaction was yes, but upon further thinking of it, and especially what Alberto and Dan, you guys were saying about like the sacrifice and that sort of stuff, I'm going to agree. I'm going to say no.
Nah.
I want to say that.
What do you think?
It's like I want to entertain the idea of it and definitely read more into it, but I'm still going to stick with the idea that everything that happened really did happen.
Yeah. Do I think it would be a fun twist?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
But
I just want to say one thing and we can move on. Then if it was final, how are they making a Matrix 4?
That is a question I have been asking since the moment I saw that it was going to happen. I promise you. Immediately I was like, what are they going to do?
prequel?
Honestly, what are they going to do?
Well, the entire original trilogy ended on a note that said, hey, this isn't going to last forever. This piece
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
going to last forever, just as long as it can.
I would love an Animatrix sequel. Side note completely, but
That was fun.
That was a good series, yeah.
Mhm.
All the different episodes with different
Styles.
like artistic styles and
it was
stuff.
cool, and I loved it. It was like a big love letter to the series.
All righty, who wants to go? Who wants to go next?
I'll go
I didn't
next.
give mine. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Who wants to go next? Bobby.
I'll
All
go.
right, Bobby. What's yours?
Captain America was there from World War II throughout the entire MCU and didn't do anything. And he was at Peggy Carter's funeral. So I am going to share my screen. I'm going to share it. Let's see if this works.
I don't know.
Hold on. Give me a second.
See,
Yeah, come on. Application window.
can you share?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Can you?
Yeah. Hold on. Just give me one second.
If anything, it might just replace his camera.
Yeah.
Might.
All right.
Oh, he's sharing it. There we go.
Okay.
And stream. You need to make sure you're on the right screen, though. There we go.
All right. Can everyone see what I'm looking at?
Yes.
Yes. So this is the funeral in Civil War when Peggy Carter died. And this right here is Captain America. He was there the entire time.
I'm already saying no.
He wasn't part. So there's different. So depending on who you talk to, which writer, which producer, which director, they say, no, Captain America jumped ship to a different timeline and lived it and then jumped back to the prime timeline or whatever. I think he was just always there, and Captain America did different things and knew he had to, for the timeline to keep going the way it had to, he had to do things in a different way to help people survive because he's Captain America. It was the right thing to do.
I'm gonna try and see. I'm gonna reserve my yeah, here's what I'm looking.
Bobby, are you done with your point about it? Because I have a
I'm done.
counterpoint.
I'm done. Counterpoint it. Go for it.
So there are three major reasons why I don't buy the theory. The reason number one is that there is no way that the Captain America that is established in the MCU would let 90% of the things that happened in the timeline between when he went back and where he ended up happen. He just wouldn't have been able to. He is literally a stubborn do-gooder. Like, he wouldn't have been able to step by and let that happen. Point number two is that it's, in my opinion, I thought it was pretty clear that it was insinuated that he went because he had the time suit still. So he went, dropped everything off, went back to her, and then at the last minute when things were about to end, he came back to them.
Right. Yeah.
And the final one is originally before Stan Lee's passing, they intended on having him be old Captain America and having your point be true, that he was jumping around from time to time watching everything. But Stan Lee passed and they changed their mind last minute.
Oh,
threw
so
him
all
into
of the moments
that's a
where
good-
he was showing up.
Yes. So the original
supposed to
plan
be
was going to
old
have to
Captain
be
America.
Yes, was
That
supposed
would
to
have been
be
so cool.
yes, but unfortunately Stan
I would've
passed before
loved
they
it.
finished the filming of it, and they ended up changing it last minute.
Sucked. So this whole theory makes me think of this video here by the Warp Zone. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not getting any sound coming
Hello,
through.
honey. Don't
Are you
you
not getting
know?
sound through?
No.
Oh, I gotta hang on. Hold on.
Yeah, I love this video.
That's a good video. That's a good one.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen this, Joe? Okay, so I definitely have to get it working.
So you gotta do the reaction video. It's good.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do a reaction video here.
Yeah.
Because
I'm gonna mute myself real quick.
basically take that whole theory and the point that Christian's making of how much of a do-gooder he is. Yeah. You hear it? Yeah.
Oh, would you look at that? The Yankees are playing the Dodgers in the World Series. You gonna tell me who wins?
Oh, Peg, you know I can't do that.
Come on, you can't even give me a hint?
Seriously, honey, we've talked about this. My mission was to return all the Infinity Stones to the exact time and places that we got them in order to preserve the timeline. If I were to tell you anything about the future, no matter how insignificant it might seem, it would change the way history unfolds, creating a whole new timeline. And believe me, I already have enough weighing on my conscience as it is.
Right.
Besides, I've lived through the future. I know this world will do just fine without my help.
I know. You can't blame a girl for trying.
Uh-huh.
Oh, JFK is going to Dallas over the weekend.
Well, I'm sure that will be a very uneventful weekend.
So there you go. Okay. Curious. What do we think? This whole theory. I kinda just shot it out of the sky there with that little video. But Bobby, your theory, do you believe your theory? I'm curious.
I believe Cap did the right thing, and he retired knowing that history was going to unfold the way it has. So, and he showed up at the end. So that's what I think.
I agree with Bobby. At this time, Steve is tired, and he went back in time to spend the rest of his life with the love of his life, and he knew how it was going to end. And when he laid down the mantle, he laid down the mantle. He wasn't returning to it. So I agree with Bobby.
Christian.
I'm torn because I know they wanted that to be the kind of underarching thing with all the Stan Lee cameos, that he was kind of always being thrown in there, watching everything, making sure everybody did okay. And then you got the flip side of it. You know what? I think it's a fun theory. I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to say I agree with it.
Alberto?
Christian's thing, I never knew about the Stan Lee cameo sprinkled around. So like when Bobby was first saying it, I don't know if you heard me, I immediately went, no. But then Christian was talking about like this underlying theme thing that's been going on the whole time. And I'm like, okay, my faith is shaking now. Now I don't know.
How does that explain Captain America as Stan Lee showing up in the middle of space in Guardians 2?
Because he's got his time suit still. He can go wherever he needs to go. He can interact with whoever he needs to get to. And who better for the watchers to come to help them watch than somebody who's already lived through all of history?
So Alberto, you're buying it. You're going, okay, yeah, I guess.
I am conflicted. If this was a purchase, I'm purchasing this with my eyes closed and like really tightly gripping my $20 bill at the same time. Like I don't want to, but I think I might have.
I don't want to, but I guess I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Hope I don't regret this. I'm more partial to the other side of that coin theory, which is the old Captain America is not the exact same one that left, but rather one from an alternate timeline that they all ended up getting crossed over and impacted by in the multiverse. And his decision actually ended up creating the multiverse. And the old Captain America that we saw is aware of all of these events because he knew the younger one that went back through time, but it's not the same. It's not the exact same one that went back. That's what I'm more inclined to believe.
I've got a question for you guys real quick because I saw this posted on the internet the other day.
Bobby's like, what?
And I thought this was interesting, and I wanted to pose it to you guys. Most of the stones make pretty easy sense for how Cap got them back to where they belong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except for 2.
Yeah.
How did he return the stone to Red Skull?
Awkward.
And how did he turn the stone back into a Tesseract?
Well, you got to figure with the space
and sneak it back into the military base and put it back under lock and key after converting it back to a Tesseract.
You're overthinking this, Christian.
Yeah, I think you're overthinking because he did have the suit.
The comic book movie. He's a superhero.
He could have miniaturized himself too. Tony Stark and everyone with all those cosmic people around. You can't recreate the Tesseract with with the stones that you already have. So
I was just
that's kind of my. That's how I thought about it.
I totally agree with you. I think Endgame's ending kind of like didn't exactly wrap up everything.
I would love to see one of those Marvel short films of him return all of them. Give us 5 minutes.
I'd love to see that. Yeah. We got to see freaking Thor with a roommate twice. Yeah. We could see Captain bringing.
if it's just 5 minutes of him and Red Skull just standing there awkwardly, like.
So what do we do now?
I would watch that. I would totally watch that.
On like a kind of unrelated, but definitely related Captain America one. I don't know, real quick, just like 30 seconds. Yeah. If you guys have ever seen Jojo Rabbit, it was directed, written, starred by, I'm going to butcher his last name and probably his first name too.
Taika Waititi.
Thank you so much for saving me that. You guys definitely would know him from, without a doubt, Thor Ragnarok. Easily the best
He was
Thor.
Korg.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he ended up doing
and What We Do in the Shadows,
even like voice actor stuff. So
I wanted to watch that movie, never got around to it though.
Jojo Rabbit is set obviously during World War II. It has to do, of course, about Hitler and everything. I don't need to give you guys a course history, but you guys know how what happened in Germany towards the end of World War II. So there was a part where American forces are in Germany, and it only shows like a leader from like the waist down. With somebody running right behind him, just one person, and they're running through the streets, and you hear the kid in the back saying, "Right behind you, Cap." And I turned immediately to Ari, my girlfriend, and I turned to Ari, and I was like, "Okay, I know that I'm probably overreaching, but was that maybe a cute little nod of Bucky and Steve Rogers? They're probably fighting because this is the director from Thor Ragnarok. I can't doing that.
I love that theory.
I thought it was super.
Now I need to go watch Jojo Rabbit from the perspective of it being part of the MCU officially.
Yeah, that's it. It's official. Hitler is part of MCU.
Hitler was in the MCU.
Well, he did say he hit Hitler 31 times on Broadway.
I've personally knocked out Hitler over 31 times.
That's a new theory right there. You heard it here, folks.
That's a whole new theory right there. I love it, Alberto. Who's next? Right. Alberto, is that your theory? Is that
no. All right. That's not mine.
What is your? Did we already go through Do we believe?
Yes,
Yeah.
we went there.
Yeah, we all went through it. We all went through the
So,
circle.
Alberto,
So
what is your theory? I'm curious.
Okay, so before I even start my theory, courtesy of my sister for honestly saving me here, because I was struggling to find theories and time to really do a lot of research, and she did a lot of the heavy lifting for me. So thank you to her. But one that she found that stood out a lot to me is this Home Alone one, and the best way to kind of summarize it, I put a link in like the in the Google Docs if you wanted to open it up, but Home Alone origin story to Jigsaw from the Saw franchise.
Oh,
And I've never heard.
I
this
already
one
see where
personally.
this is going, and I like it very much.
I personally never have heard of it. Then I started reading into it, and this and like the writer from this article definitely has sold me. So I'm gonna summarize it because it's kind of a lengthy one, but they start talking from the very beginning, Home Alone 1, where Kevin McAllister is already showing anger control issues, violent fantasies. He has these real Voyager-esque type of like tendencies as well. But all in all, a lot of early signs of a serial killer. And they start going through like
Definitely.
different parts also of the movie where Kevin McAllister is even maybe like starting to show a little bit of the Jigsaw personality, like and this can be seen from his obsession in doing home recordings of stuff and using a lot of home
love where
recordings
this
of
is
things,
going.
the
Yes.
hallucinations, and
Do you
just
guys
how
give up, or are you thirsty for more? Yeah.
yeah. And there was one
Love it.
bullet point that I thought was really funny. They were talking about how in the first movie, when the whole family is eating pizza and Kevin gets upset because Buzz eats pretty much like everything. It says Kevin reacts by flying into a murderous rage, releasing a scream, a guttural scream, while tearing into Buzz in a whirlwind of nails and teeth. Buzz easily outweighs Kevin by perhaps 80 pounds, but the force of Kevin's attack pushes the older brother back against the ground.
Bless you.
And
Bless
it's just
you, Bobby.
and he just continues on by just talking about how despite the small size of Kevin and his young age, he uses his early experiences of creating these home traps as inspiration for later in the Saw franchise. One of the prominent examples that the article wrote was there was a hallucination where Kevin, if you guys remember, he was scared about the furnace in the basement. Well, the author was writing, well, this furnace is the inspiration to the very, very same murderous trap that was put on top of one of the victims from the Saw franchise that looks like a furnace face.
Yes.
Obviously going back to Kevin's old childhood fear. And on top of that, the basement that Saw 2 goes into very carefully resembles the exact same layout as the layout from Home Alone as well, from the staircase to everything else in between. And where was it also? Oh, and then finally there was a trap that Jigsaw used that sliced blades to cut someone's feet. The SWAT team members, when they were trying to infiltrate like the location in Home Alone, Kevin McAllister used big nails on the downstairs basement steps to cut right through one of the burglar's feet, thus giving him the inspiration to later on cut the feet off instead of just killing them.
This theory just gets better and better and better.
And then
This is one of my favorites.
And then the last two things is that one, there was a doctor from a Cornell Medical College who actually examined some of the injuries that Marv himself had to suffer and was talking about three of them: the iron to the face, the glowing hot doorknob, and of course the blowtorch to the scalp. And it's talking about how that doorknob must have been at least 751 degrees, burning the skin off of him. That scalp, he stood still for 7 seconds, thus not just giving him like a surface layer of burn, but burned straight through and giving like permanent damage, because most likely he would need a transplant to even live. And the final thing, and like the two final snippets, they show a picture: cheekbones, eyes, nose, hairline, lips, everything. It looks like Jigsaw was aging. And the very final little cherry on top, if you rewatch Home Alone, if you watch it frame by frame, when Kevin McAllister comes downstairs into his basement, On the bottom left of the whole frame, you see a little toy clown with a little red nose and a little red hair, thus giving the persona of Jigsaw for the years to come. So, case in the words of the author, case closed.
Case closed. Okay, so have you guys ever seen the movie The Good Son?
I don't think
Yes.
so.
Yes.
I have.
With
Yes, with
With
Macaulay Culkin.
Elijah
Yes,
Wood.
Yes.
Elijah
Yeah,
Wood.
yeah,
Right,
yes,
right.
yes, yes.
Okay. I don't, this is like a 2-minute trailer here, but I want to show this because this is totally in line with the theory. And hang on. It doesn't have the audio.
Here,
Let me try to put the audio in. Hold on. Gotta make sure I put the audio in there. There we are. I'm curious, how many of you, so who hasn't seen The Good Son, or are any of you even aware of
I've
this
never
movie?
even heard of it.
I've seen it.
Alberto, you've never even heard of it?
No, I'm saying I've heard of it, but I just never got around to seeing it though.
This is The Good Son.
You know this one? Great big gobs of greasy, grimy gopher, mutilated monkey meat, chocolate little piggy.
It's Bilbo.
French fried eyeballs swimming in a pool of blood. That sure tastes good.
Henry, come on down here. Behind his smile lies a secret.
Here.
This came out after Home
So we
Alone.
can be brothers. Hey, Mark, come on, let's go. Where are we going?
Behind his eyes lies a plan.
Who is he? Mr. Highway. Wow.
Oh,
And behind the image of a good son
Coming? So what are you guys up to out there? Sorry, Mom. Top secret. Where are we going? We're here.
lies the terrifying truth.
Say goodbye. You know you did? You could have killed people. I feel sorry for you. You just don't know how to have fun. What? You're a doctor. You know things. Well, some things. What if there was this boy? You did these terrible things because you like doing them. Such a sweet little thing. It'd be too bad if something were to happen to her. Would you say he was evil? I don't believe in evil. You should.
When innocence is just a mask.
So-
I really think I'd hurt her. You wouldn't. Poor Mark.
clearly this is playing off of the darker side of his character in Home Alone.
Then anyone can become the next victim.
Henry. If I let you go, you think you could fly?
Macaulay Culkin, the good son.
All right, so
That looked like a parody. That was that.
that is a legit commercial.
That was real. That got released
That's real.
into cinema.
I saw that in the theaters, Al. That is, I will vouch for it. It was real.
Real movie, and that was the real trailer.
So does that mean Elijah Wood is the
1993.
guy from the first Saw movie?
93.
It was actually a good movie too.
It actually is pretty creepy and kind of crazy to think that there's this kid that, yeah.
Well,
So
now you got this theory to pair it with. So.
right, totally. So going around the room here, going around the round table, Bobby.
Yes, I say yes because there's another movie too supporting. There's another YouTube video with Macaulay Culkin
Please
supporting
say-
that theory
Please. say-
called Drivers Ed. It's in the link if we want to watch that too.
Driver's Ed.
It's called Driver's Ed. It's right below right below Al's link that I put in. Yep.
The
It says
Ferris
follow
Bueller
up to
one?
Al. No. Right. It says follow up to Al.
Oh, I see it.
Mhm.
I see it. I see it.
Yeah,
oh,
so-
yes. I have seen
So
it.
that is going to
good.
support Albert's
is.
theory.
Good.
So
Perfect.
This is a good one.
I'm going to say yes
Scientific
because of this
research.
video.
So let me bring this one in because we're hitting this theory hard. I love it.
I've been hearing this
theory
one for a while. This one.
Have you been hearing this one? I
Yes.
heard. I just recently became aware of it.
I think we might have to do a part 2 of this episode.
We
guys.
might need to, because we're only getting like one theory per person here, but I'm okay with it.
Well, we might have to skip a week though, because next week we got to cover the DC fandom stuff.
That's true.
Drivers.
I have no idea what that was. Oh, this is 5 minutes. This is pretty long.
Maybe we just watch this independently and then we can.
Yeah, we can
talk
watch
about
it later, but it's pretty
Yeah.
much.
Actually, everything's not okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's Macaulay Culkin.
I'm convinced.
This is Anna's car, and I'm Anna's husband. But my wife, my fucking wife, whose fucking job this is, decided that she did too much blow last night.
Yeah, maybe we watch this one
Yeah,
independently and we can talk
like,
about it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some swearing.
seems
Sorry
like,
about that. I forgot about
okay.
that.
That definitely seems like a Macaulay Culkin on Edge that turns into Jigsaw, though.
Yeah.
Like, just look at his face. Alrighty. Crazy.
So
crazy.
yes, I also believe the
Christian,
fan
you buy
theory.
it?
100%. 100%. It's Alberto's theory. Of course he believes it.
Joe?
I believe it.
Totally. I completely believe it too.
I think this is the most rock solid one we've talked about tonight.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
my sister.
can't decide between which one I want to go with here. There is a certain Star Wars theory out there that I'm leaning towards.
We got
But
time. You could probably hit us with 2 if you wanted.
If it's a Star Wars theory, it's not going to just be like 2 minutes, you know.
Yeah,
I'll go with the other one because I think the Star Wars one will take too long. We'll save that one for the next time. We'll do a crazy theories part 2 eventually, and we'll save that one for that one. But
sounds good.
my other theory, one of my personal favorite nerdy sci-fi theories, is the fact that in Star Trek, beaming someone aboard a ship is actually the whole beaming process is actually a process of and a cycle of self-acknowledged suicide and then cloning of yourself on the other ship
or planet
or wherever. Like, the idea is you can't transmit any physical
You mean spiritual, right? Spiritual.
Physical, spiritual, whatever. You can't take that person's body and transmit it like an electronic signal, because that defies the laws of science and physics. And so essentially what you're doing is dismantling, deconstructing, and killing yourself as a computer in one place, is deconstructing every atom and fiber and essence of who you are and down to the molecular level, sending all of that information to essentially an organic 3D printer elsewhere and where you're going, and then it rebuilds you from the ground up with everything intact, including all of your memories. So every time someone's beamed somewhere, they're actually killing themselves and then cloning themselves to be recreated elsewhere. That's the theory.
So does that mean the red shirts are actually dying twice?
That does mean the red shirts are, or like, you know, however many, if that was their first time ever getting beamed aboard anywhere, then
McCoy always did hate the transporters.
that's true. He hated it. Maybe he hated it because he knew scientifically what was actually happening, and he was like, I just don't want to do that.
And in Enterprise, they only, in the first couple episodes, they restricted transporter use to inorganic objects because they didn't know the effect on organic objects.
There we go.
In the first couple episodes, till they used it on Archer to save his life.
To save his life, yeah. Or to kill him and bring him back.
Yeah, pretty easy to save somebody's life if you're just putting a copy of them somewhere.
Right. Just saying. So that's the theory.
100%.
I mean, they have never officially laid out the details of that process or anything ever, but that seems to be an ongoing theory amongst a lot of the Trekkies out there. What do we think, Bobby? We'll go around. Or do you have any questions? I'm curious. Do you guys have questions? Do you have concerns about this theory?
No, I definitely believe it because the idea of just beaming yourself, always just seeing them like you have to deconstruct yourself from the like outside in and then inside out to reconstruct yourself. Like there's no way you just shaboop.
Yeah.
I mean, you're moving matter across like
Time and
basically,
space.
yeah, basically time, space, air, like this.
Especially when you consider the fact that they're able to do it at certain points. They're able to do it in and during warp speed, right? Like, which means you can't, like, that's hard enough concept to wrap your brain around in general, like going faster than the speed of light. But then to think that you're going to get physical matter to transmit itself somehow faster than that to catch up with the ship and then get built somewhere is, yeah, it's an interesting.
I'm gonna let all you guys go first before I'll go.
Yes.
I'll go last if I
Okay.
can, Dan.
Joe, what do you think?
You know what? Let Alberto. I'm consulting with my tricky wife.
Oh, interesting.
The expert, the leading expert.
Consulting with the leading experts. Okay, Alberto, so you're saying yes?
Yes. Yeah.
Christian, what do you think?
I say 100%. There's it. I mean, aside from Star Trek being a futuristic setting, it for the most part follows pretty much the general laws of like physics and technology and that sort of stuff, and that just doesn't make any sense. Especially like you said, especially when they're going through warp speed and transporting people, like doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say, Christian, I'm going to counterpoint by saying Star Trek always sometimes has its own science sometimes, especially when it comes to how it talks about evolution in some series. So I'm going back to Star Trek Next Generation, where Barclay gets trapped in a kind of goes between worlds and finds a bunch of people in the shifters and saves a bunch of people's lives. And then there's also another episode where Scotty was on another starship and he had to put himself in a buffer mode, and they brought him back to Next Generation. So in the world of Star Trek, I say baloney. In real life, I think it's a legit theory.
Interesting. Okay. Joe, what does your wife say?
Disclaimer: this is 100% my wife's opinion. She knows more about this universe than I do. All right. Hey,
that's Catwoman's whip though, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's totally. We're on pins and needles here, Joe.
All right, ready? I'm gonna go with. I agree with what she's saying because she's making sense. Number one, that goes against everything Starfleet stands for. Everything Starfleet stands for.
Unless it's a conspiracy and everything Starfleet stands for is all bullcrap. It's all built on lies.
Area 31, Section 31.
She goes, also transporting is breaking down matter and moving it through a predetermined channel with all kinds of science to it. That's why it took a specific crew member to do it. Not anyone could handle the tech. You had to be certified to do this and to ensure that you don't kill someone.
Right. Or to be sure that you actually rebuild someone's body appropriately. I'm just saying.
But she makes a good point. They moved at warp speed and materialized food and drinks in hologram decks with interactive environments. Why is moving matter through a limited space unbelievable?
Why is moving matter through
or a human through beaming unbelievable that they can already do that?
They're doing the same thing with all of that too.
Yeah,
they're copying and then rebuilding the food. So
they do say
and rebuilding the.
With the synthetic food, they do say this. The synthetic food doesn't have the same taste as real cooking.
Exactly.
And Riker does say that in other episodes too, while he's cooking. So
it never tastes the same.
Yeah, which is
it's
why
not real. It's a clone of the thing. That's why. That's why. Okay. So obviously Joe's leaning on, probably not. Don't buy it because my wife says it's all BS.
So Joe and Bobby are both saying no. Me and Alberto are both on the yes. Dan,
And
what do you got?
I, as the tie dividing vote, clearly lean towards the conspiracy believability that Starfleet is holding this secret from everybody, not realizing that they're actually killing themselves when they beam themselves anywhere.
That's dark.
And the Klingon Empire and the Romulan Empire.
It's all a bunch of lies. Exactly.
Because they all have transporter technology.
Exactly
and
it. That's exactly it. If anybody really told any of these people the truth of what's actually happening to them when this technology does its thing, nobody would want to do it. Nobody would want to do it. I can just see your wife shaking her head, and
she's probably shaking her head. Yes.
Yeah, she's probably reporting.
I'm okay with that.
This entire
I'm
page
okay with
now.
that. Her and millions of other Star Trek fans out there who are aware of this theory and think it's also BS, but I love it. I love it because it's so fighting against the man of the Star Trek universe. So.
Dan,
okay.
Before we jump into the debate, just as a teaser, I'm curious, what was just a brief little snippet of what was your Star Wars thing?
Let's just say it tied George Lucas and Steven Spielberg together.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Into the Star Wars universe.
Dun 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 dun.
And it may or may not have
I
something
got
to
it.
do with the very, very first person to ever actually introduce force healing into the film franchise.
I think we talked about this on air last week.
We're gonna save that one. We're gonna save that one for another time.
Yeah.
Moving on to today's pointless debate. Oh, nope, that's not the right one. Taking an intermission. Good Lord, I hope not.
Intermission.
I hope not. We're rounding. Yeah, part
We're rounding
two.
the 2 hour mark. So let's.
This week's pointless debate. This week's pointless debate, and it is about as pointless as you can get this week. So
you were debate picker, correct?
Yeah, I was. I was the debate picker. So, with that said, numbers 1 through 10.
8. 4.
1.
We had 1.
I did.
All right, you're the closest. It was 2. So
nice. All right, am I picking teammate or for or against? I can't remember how we're doing it.
You are picking you're picking your teammate.
Okay. I'm gonna take Alberto.
Oh, same size, same. Joe, let's do this again.
We got it this time.
Okay. And then so then Joe and Bobby, are you going to be for or against?
Joe, what do you think?
I'm gonna leave that one up to you.
Let's go against. Why not?
Yeah.
Against?
Yes, against.
Okay.
No backsies.
No backsies. You can't take this back. Christian, I can tell, is like waiting in anticipation.
I'm excited. This is honestly.
You're excited?
Yeah,
I love this.
Do you know what it is?
No,
So,
I'm just excited. It's always fun.
Here's the topic. Gentlemen. Inverted controls are the only thing that makes sense. I was waiting for it. You knew it was coming.
I knew it. I forgot that Dan was
Christian, you knew this was coming, dude.
The funniest part is I was gonna wait until the next time I had it, and I was gonna.
But you wouldn't have to debate it. Yeah.
And I was gonna pray that you were against, so I'd make you have to argue against this point.
Alrighty, so here it is.
I'm against inverted controls.
Inverted controls in video games
You
are
want to
the
trade, Bobby?
only thing that makes sense. And I desperately want to hear Christian argue that point. I really do. I really do. this is so terrible and mean of me. But everybody gets 1 minute. Who wants to go first?
Not
Who
me.
wants to go first?
Not
Not
me.
Joe,
me.
I'm gonna have to let you go, and I'm gonna have to follow your lead. So
Okay, I'll go first.
while you're against inverted controls,
Alberto, good luck.
Okay, and that is how I had to defend.
So who's going first on the other side? We got
Alberto and
So it's
Joe.
Alberto versus Joe.
Yep.
Is that what we're doing? All right. As soon as I cut out, who's gonna go first, Joe or Alberto?
Alberto.
All right, Alberto.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So the very first thing is this gravity. Gravity is always pushing you down. In order to lift anything up, you got to go against gravity. Why would it make sense that if you're using a camera control for you to go down along with gravity? It only naturally makes sense because in most other things, if you're rowing a boat, if you're doing the row machine at the gym, if you're flying a plane, if you're doing any of those things, in most case scenarios, what you do, you're pulling up, you're pulling yourself above gravity. When you get yourself out of bed, you don't just push down against gravity. What you do is that you use the down force to then push yourself up, propel yourself up. So what I'm trying to say is this: it only makes more logical sense that naturally our bodies are fighting against nature itself. And that can easily translate into video games. Whenever you have to aim up, whenever you have to scoot up, whenever you have to do anything more naturally up. Dan, I am out of points and I am just blabbering at this point because this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
That's hilarious. Okay. All right. Joe, your
Nintendo 64 came out with GoldenEye, and I assume this is where this is coming from because the original control scheme was inverted. And so that's where Dan got his love for inversion. However, since then, it has become the standard across all gaming platforms, not inverted, but the opposite. If you want inverted, you have to go into your settings, find what you want to invert it, to switch it. The only time inverted ever makes sense is if you're flying a plane or X-Wing. But other than that, inverted is not standard issue on any first-person shooter or any other games.
All right. So bringing everybody back here. Not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed there, Alberto.
Damn. What is this? This is the biggest lie in the world, though.
Oh, the arguments for this are so concrete. It's ridiculous.
I should have just lied and said my Wi-Fi is going out.
Yeah. Of course.
Leave Stevie.
Yeah, and now Christian's pretending that he's frozen.
Yeah.
On the screen, right. All right, Christian and Bobby, you guys are up.
You're lucky I'm competitive, Dan, because I'm almost considering just throwing my time.
Oh, I see how it is.
But
I see how it is. Alrighty, I'm gonna jump out, and who's gonna go first?
I guess it's me because Alberto went first.
That's true. Yep. All right. 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna stick to the only thing I actually believe inverted controls are better at, and that is flight controls. Flight controls, it makes so much sense for inverted. You're sitting there with a flight in your hand, you're pulled down to go up, you push forward to go down. That makes natural sense. You are, like Alberto said, pushing for gravity, pulling against gravity. It is only natural that makes the most sense. And people have expanded that into all other sorts of genres. So you're bringing something that makes sense and you're putting it into these other genres. Of course, it's gonna make sense there as well. You are fighting for and against gravity. You're letting it take you down. You're pulling up against it. That's gonna be the only way you can make things work.
I can't stand.
All right, Bobby.
I can't stand inverted controls in first-person shooters. I can't do it because it feels unnatural to me. And the only reason only people why inverted controls are good is because those are experienced players. You have to search for it, like Joe said. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to make someone better or worse, but I mean, come on, inverted controls, it's pointless. What up is down, down is up, right is left, left is right. I can't control it. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how to play a game. It's bad enough I don't even play games. I mean, just the idea of inverted controls just blows my mind. I mean, come on. I'm only time I'm going to use an inverted control is what? To fly a game. I'm just going to fly an airplane. And then I'm going to use it to control my player. I don't know.
All righty. Time. Okay. All right. I am just so sorry to have to put you all through that.
No, you're not.
Dan.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If there was anything to argue for that would make me lose, I am so glad you picked the one thing that Christian and I sincerely hate the most when it comes to visiting you at your man cave. And it is this ridiculous idea that
you're going to lose at anything. You're totally okay with it.
We win by default.
There's a reason why when you have a friend coming over to play a first-person shooter, if you want to screw them up, you turn inverted controls on their controller.
Unless that friend is me. All right. So I guess I got to pick a winner.
I wonder who.
Well, the real winner is everybody who plays with inverted controls. So I guess that's me. In this debate, however, I would have to go with Bobby and Joe, probably.
Default.
Only because the actual arguments presented are total weak sauce.
Because it's the stupidest thing in the world.
No, it's really not, sir.
I have never been more happy to lose an argument in my entire life.
So here's okay. Let me.
If it's so great, then why isn't it the standard?
Let me enlighten you guys a little bit here. Imagine your head is a joystick. Let's just imagine. Just picture it here in your mind. If you're gonna make yourself, you could even do it right now for real. Grab your head. Let's say you want to make yourself, push yourself, force yourself to look down. What direction are you going to be pushing your head to make you look? Oh, look at that. You're pushing forward on the joystick to make you look down. If I wanted to look up, what way would I be? Oh, look at that. I'm pulling back on my head to make myself look up. And it's the exact same consistency in that logic when you're jumping into a vehicle, when you're flying a plane, when you're flying a helicopter. Why people are okay with completely swapping out their controls for something that is so illogical as the standard control makes no sense to me at all.
So by your argument, should third-person games not be inverted? Only first-person?
No, they definitely should be.
Why?
They all should be.
You're not looking from a person's point of view.
Because the character's still you're still pointing it up. You're still pointing it up. Put a joystick on the top of the gun you're trying to point around. What are you going to have to do to get it to go up? You got to pull back and point it up. If you're going to point it at the ground, you got to push it forward and push it down. It's the same logic. It's the exact same logic. Anyways.
For all of you viewers out there,
here it is.
You can take it from at least me and Alberto. We have been trying to argue this point with Dan for years.
Mm-hmm.
There's no. This is an argument that he no amount at this point he's just being stubborn.
Oh, there's no stubbornness about it. I just know I'm right. That's all.
Dan is prepared for this night. It's like 1986 or something, I swear.
Yeah. And especially now that the Snyder Cut came out, he's even more cocky.
I'm just a little bit more cocky. Yeah, I was right all along.
I touched on this psychologically. Dan started playing 007 when he was.
Oh, 14. Yeah. Yep. It made sense back then, and it still does today.
And so his brain tricked him into doing something wrong.
Yeah.
No.
He got Stockholm syndrome.
Here's the
into
funny.
control.
So here's the really funny thing. Here's the really funny thing about GoldenEye. The pitch for GoldenEye, right, was those stupid little yellow buttons on the right. Like the reality is, you didn't even really use them very much. You really didn't, because it had like this whole auto aim thing, and it was pretty low on the needing to have inverted concept. So, Bobby, what was that you were just throwing up?
I was just.
What was that? I gotta see that. I was looking at the camera.
It was the exact same thing I did earlier. It said release the Lucas cut.
Oh my gosh! Again with that propaganda.
So next week, gentlemen, we doing a DC fandom breakdown.
I guess we'll do a breakdown of the DC fandom. It sounds like there's going to be a crap ton of news.
I think
that
the whole
everybody is curious about, except for Joe.
Did you see who got added to the list of guests?
Who got added?
Joaquin Phoenix and the director of Joker.
Oh my! Why can't I remember his name? The director from Hangover.
Yeah, Todd.
Wow.
What's his name? I think Dan's freezing up.
Nope, everybody froze up for a second there. That was weird. Todd. What was his name? Todd McFarlane?
No, that's
Spawn.
Todd.
That was Spawn. Yeah,
and all I can think is Todd Howard, but that's Bethesda.
Todd Phillips.
Todd Phillips. Yeah, there we go. Todd Phillips.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix and himself both got subtly added to the bottom of the guest list.
When does this take place?
This upcoming Saturday, the 22nd.
This weekend. Yep, this coming weekend.
Oh, it's
a 24-hour event. It's taking place all digitally, 24 hours. So
where can you watch it at?
Online.
Listeners? YouTube?
I think there's their own website. It's like, so if you're on your computer,
there's a bunch of places.
So you can do it on your computer, and you can actually do a virtual walkthrough of like a virtual convention center.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, if you're doing it on your phone, it's just a bunch of like live streams of the panels.
I tell you, this is what we'll do for our listeners. Saturday morning, we will post a link on Man Cave Mondays.
Yeah,
so you can check it out.
Yeah.
That's a good
we might even throw that up before Saturday, so anybody who wants the schedule.
Anybody is able to, yeah. I'm curious if I have any time on Saturday. Maybe you guys do too. We can talk about it. Maybe we can do like a live stream react kind of thing with some of the bigger news.
You know what I think we should do? Let me look at the schedule real quick. I think it might be fun to do a live stream during the Zack Snyder panel.
I'd be cool with that. Yeah, that'd be a big one. We've spent a decent amount of time talking about that.
Yeah. So at some point over this week, we will put up a schedule for all of you listeners. We'll put up a schedule on the Facebook page showing all that stuff. There is 2 unannounced panels. We don't know what they are.
Still?
So, yes, they're both secrets.
They're both movies.
Yes. One I think might be a comic. The other one's a movie, I believe.
I bet it's The Flash. I bet it's Flash related. That's what I think, but could be wrong.
So check this out. I've been negotiating a PlayStation 4 Pro with The Last of Us 2 and like 4 other games coming with it for like $200.
That's disgustingly cheap. Oh my god.
Did you just pull the trigger?
I just hope it's not stolen.
Oh yeah, right.
So here's my question real quick before you log off. What happens if it is stolen? What's the safety? What's the safety features?
You don't tell anybody.
You don't tell anybody. I can just sign on.
How do you know if it's stolen? How would you even find that out?
The serial. Normally, it's a serial.
That's registered to the username that was stolen from.
Yeah, because whenever I worked at GameStop, I remember that we would have stolen consoles come in, and police would come in, and they would ask to look at our serial number list for consoles, and if they matched it, then we tried to see which person sold it to us, and
because even if you don't have it written down somewhere what your serial number is, the fact that Microsoft or Sony or whoever has your profile connected with that console, they can still look it up.
Because that seems really cheap for a Pro, right?
Dude, that seems super cheap.
Pro? Yeah. especially with 4 games.
5 games.
Make sure they don't send you
one of them being Last of Us 2.
a little
Wow.
car in the mail or nothing.
Right.
Make sure it's not
is it online or are you getting it in person, Joe?
It's on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, so would it be an in-person exchange, or are they saying they're going to mail it to you?
In person.
Okay.
It's here in Kankakee. Skankakee.
Skankakee.
Hit or
Best
miss.
of luck, sir.
Hit or miss.
We will meet at the police department.
There you go.
All right.
That's
so
exact. I was going to recommend like do
4:45
that.
Central Time on Saturday. The
What
Zack
time?
Snyder Justice. 4:45 Central Time on Saturday is the Zack Snyder Justice League Cup
Okay,
panel.
4:45 Central Time.
It looks like it's a 15-minute panel.
It's not very long. Yeah.
No.
Dan,
let's try and plan that. Let's try and plan something.
It's immediately followed by the Aquaman or by the Black Adam panel.
Oh, that'd be good too. Got Alberto.
And at 4:00 Central Time is the surprise DC Comics panel.
Surprise!
That whole thing just gets like what?
Surprise! Everyone got fired.
Yeah, right. Surprise! We don't have anyone working here anymore. Yeah. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for an amazing show once again.
Oh, I need to go so I can earn $200 from my wife.
There you go.
You guys have a great night. Have a great
night. Have a good week, and we will we'll see you again next weekend.
Have a good night.
Bye.